One mini world, one creation dream.
Hello guys, welcome to another episode here of miniworld. Today we are going to continue with the tutorial about circuit system, the celestium energy that you can find in miniworld today. So no saying more, let's start with this. Alright guys, before starting, remember that if you haven't checked the previous tutorial, go ahead and check the previous tutorial because we explained the basics about Celesthium circuits. So all the previous power sources and how the circuit works were explained in the previous tutorial. So if you miss up or are a little bit confused, go ahead and check the previous tutorial. So today we're gonna start with the logic blocks. That means that you can do advanced algorithms with this specific kind of blocks. And the first one that we are going to see is going to be the comparator. Okay, so the comparator is a block that can help you out to have two different energy sources, and you can choose if this is going to be activated. So how it works is really simple. What it's going to do is that you're going to have two different outputs. You can place anything on the sides and one on the back, okay? And how it works is that it's only going to let the energy be transferred through this output only if the energy on the back is bigger than the energy that comes from the side. So let me put this on my hand. This will help me out to measure the energy, okay? So remember, the signal broker, just a quick reminder, is going to reduce the energy coming from this side. So at this side, we have 7 of energy. And at this side, we have 0 right now. But if we turn on this, as you see, is going to change that and is going to let the energy cross because we have more energy coming from the back than if the side. On the next example, we have the same configuration, the same setup, but instead of that, we are going to have the blocker here. So it means that the energy coming from the back is going to be lesser than the energy that comes from the side. So as you see here, we have right now 0, but when we activate this, it's going to have 7, and this side is going to have 15. As you see, it's the same setup, but in comparison to the previous one that has more energy coming from the back than the side, this is not going to turn on the lamp at the end because it's not going to let the energy cross, okay? Another important thing is going to be the random mode. So when you click on it on the top, you will be able to switch the comparator to the random mode, meaning that it's going to just output any amount of energy, a random amount in between 1 and 15. Remember, all the energy has this amount at max 15, at the minimum amount is 0. Okay, so let me show you the example. If I turn on this, and I measure the energy coming from the end is 2, but from the input is going to be 15. If I do this again, the energy that comes from the end is going to change, it's going to be a 9. And if I do it a third time, the amount of energy is going to be different. So that's how you make the random mode for the comparator. Probably you are thinking, well, I already know that it has a random mode, but how am I going to use that? How is going to work for me? So I did a small example. On the next example, you will see how it works. As you see, it's almost the same setup. We have a beamer here, the random mode, and a comparator. And what we are going to do is a system that sometimes is going to turn on the lamp, but sometimes is not, okay? So how it works is really simple. I'm gonna pull the switcher. And as you see, this time is not going to work. This time works. This time doesn't turn on. Oh yeah, this time turn on. If I push again, it's going to turn on. But sometimes it's not going to turn on. And that is because the random mode is going to switch random energy, and the comparator is only going to let the energy happen or cross if this specific device has an input energy of 8 or less, okay? Meaning that we have a comparator that, and remember the comparator is going to reduce the amount of signal strength from the light beamer to the half. In this case, the amount is 15. But when you use the signal broker, it's going to be 7. So if a random output is going to be bigger than 9, it's going to turn on the device. The next block that we are going to see in our system is the counter block, okay? The celestium counter. What it's going to do is that every time that you give energy to this specific block, is going to increase the amount of counting that is going to have in the top. And it's going to release that energy when you just send any kind of energy from the side. Okay, so remember, from the back is going to increase or decrease. Let's see the example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, you can do it up to 15 times. 6, 10, as you see, and it's going to continue increasing until it gets the 15 times. Okay, you cannot do it more than 50 times because remember that is the max amount of energy that you can have in a system. At max is going to be 15, and once whatever the number you have here, you give energy, you send energy from the output on the side, is going to release all the energy and is going to restart this. Okay, as you see right now. Let me show you now an example. On the current system, what we are going to do is we are going to turn on this device only if the energy that we have here is going to be bigger than 8, okay? So it means that even if you turn on the button 1, 2, 3 times, and you release the energy here, it's not going to turn on because it's the amount of times, the amount of energy stored here is going to be less than 8. If you're going to see the configuration, what I did is I put this specific button to have energy from the side and this for having energy from the back. And of course, a permanent comparator that is only going to let the energy cross if you have more than 8 points. Okay, so let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, and we are going to do 9 times. And after 9 times, you can click on this button and it's going to turn the energy in the lamp, okay? If you do it again, nothing is going to happen again once more because we need to have more than 8 times this activated to let the energy activate the lamp in the background. Now, guys, we are going to see the Celestium calculator. What you can do with this is just, you're going to zoom or add 2 different sources of energy. You're going to assume the energy strain that comes from every side, okay? So for the example, I'm using a Celestium pattern block. Remember that this always sends energy. Remember that if you don't understand how it works, remember to check the last tutorial, okay? But the energy coming from this side is 7, and from this side is also 7. Once you put this block, the calculator block in the half is going to sum both of them. So remember, 7 plus 7 is going to have 14 of energy, okay? Now, for this next example, remember that you can turn this block, the calculator block, in a subtraction block, okay? For this, just click on the top and you're going to see that the sign on the top is going to change. And right now, what it's going to do is it's going to take the base, that is going to be the block in the back, and is going to add, or rest, sorry, is going to reduce the energy coming from the side. So in the next example, we have an input of 15, and from the side we have an input of 7. So 15, if you take 15 and you reduce 7, the exit amount is going to be 8, okay? Now that we covered the basics about the logic blocks, we are going to check the logic gates. Okay, so imagine those are conditions that you can use just as triggers did, okay, the previous one. But this is going to be conditions related to 2 or more different sources. As an example, remember in triggers you can place 2 different triggers and you can place a condition that is AND or not, okay? AND means that if the 2 conditions are okay, you are going to execute the trigger, or means that if any of the conditions are okay, you're going to execute the trigger. And finally, we have NOT, that is only if the conditions are not okay, you are going to execute the trigger. Those next blocks are going to work the same way. For this, we're going to start with the OR block, the most simple one, okay? So, what is going to do the OR block? The OR block is really simple. The OR block is this block you can see in the middle, and it's going to have 2 inputs, okay? Meaning that if any of the energy is coming from any of the sides, is going to turn on the next device. For this example, imagine that you are creating a maze map, okay? So in the maze, you have two ways to activate the door for the next level. You have two different rooms in any part of your maze, and if the player finds any of the switches and activate it, is going to open the door for the next level. So you can see the setup here. We can turn on any of them, and if any of them is activated, the door is going to be open, even if we activate both of them, okay? But if any of them is completely, well, if both of them, sorry, are deactivated, are enabled, are turned off, this door is going to be closed. Similar to the previous one, we have another block, and this block is going to be the AND gate. So it's going to be similar to the previous one. You have two inputs at the side, and what it's going to do is that both of the two different inputs need to be activated to be able to send a signal. So imagine that you have another level in your maze. In this case, the player needs to find two different rooms and activate both at the same time to be able to go to the next level. So, if you see, if I turn on any of the sides, nothing is going to happen. But if I turn on both of them, the door is going to be open. Once more, if I turn off any of the sides, the system is going to be off. Finally, but not least, we are going to have the NOT gate, okay? The NOT conditional block. What it's going to do is that it's going to do the inverse thing to the previous or the input energy that you have, meaning that if the energy that comes from the back, that comes in the input, is on, is going to turn off the system from the output, and if the energy coming from the back is off, is going to output activation signals. Okay, let me show you the example. So if you see right now the energy is coming on the back and the system is completely off. But if I just turn off this, is going to activate the door. So in the example of the maze, as an example, you can do a room that is full of transductors. So if the player is standing over those transductors, the level is going to be completely off. You cannot cross the next level. Or as an example, that the players need to turn off a specific device to be able to continue to the next level. If you are tired of using wires, let me show you another cool system for energy on miniworld. You have also wireless blocks. So the wireless blocks are blocks that you can use to activate any circuit without having a wire like this. So in the next example, as an example, you're going to see that I can open a door from the distance without having to actually do any kind of wiring, okay? So this is really important. This system is composed by basically two different blocks. All right, so the first one is going to be the signal generator. And what it's going to do is the block that when it's activated is going to send signals to a radius of 32 blocks, meaning that if you have any receiver block on 32 blocks, is going to activate it, okay? So once receive energy, is going to send wireless signals, okay? Then we have the signal receiver, okay? And how it works is going to receive any signal that this block sends, is going to be sent to this one, and is going to receive and activate any block that is around this specific block, okay? So really important, any wireless circuit is going to have an input that is going to be the wireless signal generator, and at the end, the system that you want to activate it has to have a signal receiver, okay, like this. All right, you see when I activate this is going to be activated, okay? So now it's really important to notice something. Why when I activate this is going to be activated, but this door is not going to be open unless I turn on this, okay? So another important feature about these blocks is that those blocks are going to have channels. You see those small squares on the top? Well, that is going to show you which channel is activated, okay? So if I click on it, you see it's going to change the channel. You have 8 different channels, and depending of the channel that you have activated is going to activate all the receivers that has the same channel, okay? So let me show you the example. Right now this is not turned on because it needs to be on the same channel, okay? So you see I'm changing the channels. Now it's in channel 7, but if I activate the last one, that is the same amount that we have here, is going to be also activated, okay? So Another cool thing that you can see here is that I can open more than one if those are on the same channel, okay? So check, this is on channel 2, this is also on channel 2, and this one is on channel 2. But really important, you can do also something special, and is that if you click on it with a wrench, you can change the channel. You have a lot of colors. You have, if I'm not wrong, 6 colors. So you're going to have a lot of different channels that you can use to turn on this. Let me show you the example. So this is also red and this is red. Okay, so now it's not activated, even knowing that both of them have the same channel. Okay, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, because this is only going to work with the red one, and the other one is only going to work with the yellow one. Okay, and finally, and not least, for this logic tutorial, we have another important block. For me, is one of the best blocks that miniworld has, and is the signal resolver. Okay, so think about this block as a small computer that can run small programs, small applications that you can make. Okay, and what it's going to do, the function is really similar to the signal generator. It's going to send signals around 32 blocks radius. Okay, and you can use different channels. Also, you can use the 8 channels, but the difference is that you can put on it another block that is going to be called, but it's not block, the command chip. Okay, and in the command chip you can save any kind of software, let's say that you can create. Okay, so let me show you an example. I have a LED here, and I made a small program that is going to do some patterns here. So I have the signal receiver here, and I have, sorry, the signal resolver here, and I have different signal receivers at the back. Okay, this is for channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, channel 6, and what I can do is a small program here. Alright, so what is going, if you go on the back, you see that all the channels are sending and are changing really quick. And to do so is really simple. Let's turn off this, okay? What you have to do is to put the command chip on your hand. You have to use that item, and you're going to see this small interface, okay? It may seem confusing for you, but let me explain how it works. At the top, you are going to see the different channels, okay? And here you can see the different ticks, okay? You can have up to 32 ticks per command chip. And what you can tell the game is what kind of, or what channels are going to be activated every tick, okay? Okay, so let me start with it. What we are going to do is we are going to activate all the channels at the beginning, okay? We are going to keep it activated 2 ticks. Remember, here you can see the speed of the tick. You can have the minimum amount that is 0.2, and you have the max amount that is more than half of a second. I'm going to use half of a second, so it's going to be easier to calculate. As an example, I'm going to turn on all the channels for a second. Then I'm going to turn off all the channels for a second, meaning 0.5 seconds, 0.5 seconds. And then I'm going to activate all the different ones for another second, except the 2 on the middle, okay? I'm going to do for a lot of time, really quick here. Now we are going to turn off a second, and we are going to start activating the leads from the sides, okay? Until both leads are going to be together on the middle. And what it's going to do is going to do a small blinking, so it's going to be turn off, then turn on, then turn off, again turn on. Is going to do it 3 times, and the last time is going to make the dots get away really fast. And then it's going to be completely off, because this is an example. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to put this small program inside our signal resolver, okay? You're going to see that here I already have a specific one added that was the previous system I made. I'm just going to put the one that we just created and it's going to take the other, okay? And let's see how it works. As you see, it's doing what I tell it to do. You see? And it's going to repeat over and over, okay? But it's going to repeat only because we put only one of those blocks inside. Remember, I can put both here. Let's turn off this. And what we are going to do is we are going to turn on. First is going to run the first program I made. And then it's going to make the second, okay? So right now I'm using a lead, but remember that you can use this on your creativity and you can create a lot of things. As an example, you can create a machine. Every channel is going to be an instruction and you can create, I don't know, as an example, a gigant robot that is going to have different attacks and is a boss for a final fight, okay? So I hope also that you can use this just as most of the signal wireless blocks, you can change the channel, meaning that you have a lot of possibilities here. You can do a lot of things with this, okay? And you can combine the different systems that we learned today. As an example, you can have conditionals, you can have random blocks, as the previous one, as the first or second block I show you, that are connected to different signal resolver, meaning that you can create different algorithms for your game, okay? Thank you so much for seeing this tutorial about the circuit system. Remember, YeyoCore here, your English teacher, was the one who was releasing this tutorial for you. And remember that you can find me in Discord, or also you can find me in other mediums inside the game. If you have any questions, I can help you out, okay? For now, I'm going to say goodbye and thank you so much for assisting to this tutorial. Goodbye!